Hello everybody, this is Marion with MyCraftBasketStudio, and today I'm going to do a tutorial. This is going to be on how to stamp. I am on a couple of Facebook sites, and a lot of people are having trouble with their stamps and want to know how to stamp and why. What are they doing that's wrong? I see a lot of advice on there from maybe seasoned stampers that actually is not very good information. I'm trying to be gentle on that because my way is my way, and I'm not saying anybody else's is wrong, but I want to give you some tips on what I do so that I get a good impression. Now, you can certainly do what you've done if you're a seasoned stamper and you say, Marion, you're all wrong, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Please do. I'm not here to correct anybody, but I want to give the advice that I know works for me and that I know is correct for the use of the stamp. So, what we got for stamps. Long time ago, good old-fashioned wood stamp. I've got 3 different ones here because I'm going to show you how to use those and apply my strategy to those. Then we've got, once they decided to go to cling because wood was expensive, they went to cling foam mounted stamps, and this is my Tim Holtz one. Field Notes, my favorite one. I use this one continuously. This one's actually on a block on my desk. I use it so much I just leave it out. So I'm going to show you how to use that. And then there is, of course, the plastic stamps, and this again is one of my favorite ones. So now, on wood stamps, you do not want to wash your stamps underwater with a wood stamp because the water, this is not sealed, and the water will absorb into the wood block. And I have actually seen people, they brought them into the store, they stored them, they left a block in a baby wipes container. It was a big stamp, and they brought it into the store, and the stamp had actually curved because it had absorbed all that moisture. So we remounted it for her on a fresh block. It didn't hurt the rubber at all. But speaking of baby wipes, do not use baby wipes because baby wipes have conditioners in them that are designed for a baby's bottom. It also may have alcohol in it, depending on what kind of baby wipe you get. You do not want to use alcohol on your rubber or your polymer stamps. So don't use alcohol to clean them or in the baby wipes. Baby wipes, again, have that conditioner in them. Your ink isn't sticking and you've been using baby wipes. That might be a very good reason why your ink isn't sticking. Don't store your red rubber in the sunlight. If you've ever seen anybody with a travel trailer and they've got big wood panels over their wheels, the reason is the thing that hurts rubber the most is ultraviolet light. And so when they put those covers over the wheels, that prevents the rubber on the tires from breaking down. And this rubber is exactly the same type of rubber that they use for vehicles. It's just that it's red. And so it's been vulcanized under heat and pressure into a form to make this design. But if you leave it in, say you have your stamp stored by a window, watch where that sun goes, because maybe in the wintertime it's way over here and doesn't hurt it, but maybe in the summertime it's moved to where it's shining right on your stamps, and that will make them brittle. Polymer stamps, the same thing. You actually want to keep them out of the sun. And on polymer stamps, I have mine in the cello bag that it came in, and it's also got 2 pieces of acetate. Now, a lot of people don't realize this acetate, this one on top, is really important because it has your index on here. I've seen a lot of people take all the stamps off and put them in a notebook to make it easier to use because they're all together. You're losing your index, and then I can't tell without stamping that what this is. So leave them on your index, leave them between the 2 pieces of acetate, and if you still have the cello bag, keep it, or you can put them, at this point, you can put them into a baggie, but do not let the baggie say that you lost this piece, and now you're putting this sheet in a baggie. Don't do that, because the PVC, I'm not going to say the chemical name, but it goes by PVC. It will actually hurt your plastic stamps. That's why when they ship them, they put them between 2 pieces of acetate, which is safe. So the PVC, if it comes in contact with your plastic, it's going to break the plastic down. On the ones like this, I have mine in I did actually trim his little page thing down. I don't keep it in a notebook. I know he made one. And I don't keep it in a notebook because I had stamps, as you can see, one was wanting to fall out already. They were falling out. And so I cut the sides down a little bit and bought these plastic envelopes. And that way the stamps stay contained and I don't have to worry about losing any in that set. So let's see. So that's how you want to make sure you store your stamps, no sunlight. And then for ink, I noticed that people are having a hard time getting the ink to stick to the polymer. Now, the polymer is non-porous, so that's why when you go to ink it up, it's not sticking to the plastic like it does on the rubber, because rubber is porous, so it picks up the ink. And also I want you to see that yes, your stamps are going to get stained. I clean mine every time I use them, but the ink is going to stain your stamps. That does not make them bad. It just means that the dye-based ink or the pigment ink is still on the stamp just slightly, but for the most part, it's all gone. I just stained it. And I personally do clean my stamps every time I use them. When I know I'm done with them, I clean them. Now, I know that there are some people, Tim Holtz being one of them, that all he does is clean it off on his paper. And the reason I disagree with that is, say I go to take this stamp out, and say it has some ink residue on it. Maybe I'm using a different color. Say I'm using yellow, but I've got some black ink stain on there, some black ink. When I go to stamp that yellow dye-based pad, it's going to activate the black dye that's still there. And then guess what? When I go to stamp it, I've got a muddy yellow. So that's why I disagree on not cleaning your stamps when you're done. And if you use StazOn, it is most important for plastic stamps that you clean them right away, because the StazOn has solvents that will hurt your stamp and cause the polymer or the plastic to break down. Now, there's all sorts of cleaning products out there. This one is one I have. It's by Ink Essentials. It's by Ranger, I believe. Yes, Ranger. It's called Cleans It. It's all-purpose, so you can use it on polymer and rubber. Now, mine used to have a felt pad. Yes, it's worn off, and that's still okay. What I do when I go to clean it, I'll show you. I'm not going to do it yet because I haven't inked up anything. But when I do it, I just rub it over the rubber. And then I have one of these. It's a microcloth. You can get these at Dollar Tree. You can use a wash rag. That's fine too. But use something that's lint-free, because when you go to clean it, you don't want lint getting on your stamps. It'll stick to the polymer. I've had lint stick to rubber too. So get something that is lint-free. That is another reason why you don't want to use baby wipes, because there are fibers that come off from the baby wipes and they get on your stamp. So that's how you would, I'll show you how to clean them when I get to that point. Now, whenever I go to ink up my stamps, even if I've used it, I probably used this stamp 100 times, more than that. But I always ink it up and I test it each time before I stamp it onto my good project, because I don't remember the pressure point for that image, and I have to renew that in my mind as to how hard I have to press on that stamp. Every stamp, it doesn't matter what size it is, what it's made of, is going to have its own unique pressure point. And you need to test that before you go to stamp it on your good stuff. And just to show you here, see, this is my stamping off. I've stamped, see, I use that receive stamp a lot. On my receive stamp, a lot of times I want second generation stamping, so that's why I've stamped it multiple times, because I stamped off once, and then I did the second stamping on my project because I didn't want it so dark. So that is actually how one of my pages looks. That's how I have it. I have front and back. I've used it both times. I also use it for gluing. When I do my glue stick, I put my paper down here, glue it on here, and then go over here and stamp it. Now, I've read where people said my polymer stamp isn't stamping, and I've seen lots of advice, and I'm going to name the things that I've heard that you do not want to do. And I'm going to have this list of do nots in the description below, because this is going to damage your stamp. Do not sand your stamp. Even with an emery board, do not sand it. You're going to put etchings into the rubber or the plastic, and it's going to ruin your design over time. Don't use alcohol. We've already discussed that. Don't take your clear stamp. I saw somebody do this on a tutorial. She, there it is. She had her stamp, and she started stamping it all over her surface. She says this will help the ink to stick better. But whether she realized it or not, any dust, glitter, dirt, hair that may have been on her work surface is now on her stamp. So now when she goes to ink it up, that's going to show up in the image, especially if it's a solid image. This has got a solid line on it. You can see that it will once I stamp it. If there's hair or dirt, it's going to show up in that black solid area. So don't do that. I've had other people said rub it on your hand. Well, guess what? You've got oil, you've got dead skin cells, hair. You go to rub that on your hand or your arm, you're picking all of that up and putting it on your stamp. Don't do that. Oil, for one thing, is not going to allow the dye-based ink, I keep pointing at the wrong one, the dye-based ink to stick because oil and water don't mix. And that's what this has in it. It's got water in it. So don't do that either. Let me see, there was another one, I think. Don't use acetone. Let's see. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say about that besides that. I don't think there was. I think that covered all the things that I have seen posted on what to do. So now, I've also seen people say my stamp won't stick. The stamp keeps falling off. Mine won't now, of course, because I want it to. See, I tipped it over. Oh, it filled off. Simple fix on that. I went and bought, it's called Blue Core because the tape itself in the center, it's blue. It's by Scotch, and it's double-sided Blue Core tape, which means it's temporary. So I have a brand new piece here that I just put down for the video. It's sticky on both sides. It sticks to the block, and when I put my stamp on it, it's going to stick. You won't have it fall off anymore. Now, when you go to clean it, and some of this cleaner gets on the stamp, on the tape, yes, it will stop sticking. Just put a new piece of tape on. I have some acrylic blocks that double-sided tape has probably been on there for 6 months, and it still works. So I just leave it on the block. I don't take it off every time I'm done. I just leave it on the block so that when I'm ready to use it again, boom, it's there. Now, another thing on the indexing on wood stamps. The indexing, when they went to mount this piece of rubber, they matched it up with what is on the face. So when you look at your stamp, you want to check and see that this image here matches what is on the back where it's lined up. And you can kind of eye it going sideways. You can see that it's lined up on this one, and the same way with this one. If I flip it over, you can see the line right here for the happy birthday. If I followed it over, it's right there. Same thing with over here. If I look at the Y on the end of the word, it's there. So the reason I point that out is once you see that that index matches with the location of the rubber on the back, you can now use that index as a visual as to where it's going to be when you stamp it. And I'm going to give you a demonstration of that, along with how to ink your stamp properly. Now, a lot of people, I've seen them grind it. I've seen them tap it once really, really hard, press it really hard, and then stamp. But there is a proper, okay, I won't say proper, let me say better way to ink your stamp. And what you want to do is you want to build up that ink layer on your stamp. So I usually do it about 4 times at least. And then I look at it. Is it inked up? I can see it's shiny all over. And now, as I said, I always test my stamp because I need to know how much pressure is required for that stamp. So when I go to stamp, I hold it like this, and I put the palms of my hand, the place where my pinky is, both of those are down on the table. So now I can raise and lower that stamp and have control over it. If I were holding it like this, I'm going to exaggerate, but your hand shakes. In fact, mine is pretty good. And so I hold it with both hands. That minimizes the shaking. Also, now I can line it up, and I'm going to line it up here at the top of this page so that you can see. And then once I do it, I let go of the stamp there, but I move my thumbs up to the top, and I lightly press on that stamp a couple times because I want that ink to transfer. I don't rock it. I don't twist it. And then when I go to lift it up, you want to lift straight up. Now, as you can see, it's perfectly straight. It's lined up. It's even from the top. Where it is, it's lined up. Okay, so now I know how much pressure I need to put it onto this piece of paper. So I'm going to ink it up again. Make sure it's right side up. I'm going to try to get it right in the center of this piece of paper. Okay, so I'm eyeballing it because I know right where that stamp is. I'm going to press down, move my thumbs to the top, press around. Excuse me, some people massage it. This one's a little bit bigger. Massaging will work on this one, but this one's pretty big, so I do want to press on my thumb. And there we go. There is that image. Happy birthday right there. Now, me being a little picky, I'd probably cut a little bit off the top because then it would be more even. But it's straight. I got it straight. All right, so that's how you stamp with a wood stamp. And I want to show you this one. Now, this is a little stamp. It's not going to take much pressure. I'm going to show you the difference when I press really hard. See how it blurs? That's too much pressure. So now I know, okay, this stamp doesn't require very much. So I'm going to test it again. There we go. That's what I want. That's the kind of stamp image I want. I'm going to try it one more time. I don't even hardly have to press on it. I just need to guide it with my finger. Now on this, because it's not so big, I can't really go like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm left-handed, so of course you would switch this. If you were right-handed, you would hold it like this, but I'm left-handed, so I'll show you what I do. I'm going to put my palm down on the table, but I'm going to steady that stamp with my index finger of my right hand. If you're right-handed, you're going to do that. All right, so now when I go to stamp that, I'm going to press it just like that, just a little touch. And there we go. We got it. It's straight. And because I trusted the fact that I knew where that stamp index was, told me that that's where the stamp was. Now, a big stamp, and there's even bigger ones. This one is going to take some pressure. So we're going to test it first. And the reason I picked this particular one is it's got a lot of black here. And I see a little bit of glitter on there too. Whether or not I'll get it off before the video, I might not, but I think it's oh, I think I got it. Okay. So now you want to make sure there's no glitter on your stamp. That makes a difference. Some glitter is fairly chunky and it will make a difference on that black. I am going to use my VersaFine again. So I'm going to ink it up, but I'm going to ink it up this way. I'm not going this way. I'm not stamping the pad. I'm inking the stamp. And that's really important on big stamps, because now I can see where the ink is and that I got a good coverage. And I can see if there's any hair in there where it's not getting ink. That's not going to pick up ink because it's just how the image is. Now, I'm going to go ahead and press it on here to test it, see how much pressure I need. All right, so we're going to press it here. Same thing, I'm going to do it the same way, the right way on here, just to show you again how to use your hands. And this one, I'm going to actually press really hard. It's a big stamp, and it's got a lot of black. I'm actually standing up and pressing it with the palm of my hand. Now, hold your paper because this ink is sticky. It'll just lift right up with the stamp. You want to hold the paper and lift straight up. Hey, we did good. We got a good stamping. That looks really, really well. So we're going to go ahead and try it now on my cardstock and ink it up. Same thing. I'm going to ink this up really, really well. This stamp is by Stampington & Company. This one is by Stampendous, and this one is by Peddler's Pack. All right. All right, so I'm going to set that. And this is always a joke I told in my classes when I taught Stamping 101. When your stamp pad is like that, it becomes magnetic. And people go, really? Does it become magnetic? And actually, it's kind of funny because some stamp pads are now. But I said, yes, because it will never fail that if there's something on my desk, it's going to land on there. So whenever I get done inking up a stamp, I always put the lid on and get it on my way. Because if you've got something like, say, one of these is laying there, sure enough, that lid flips upside down, the pad flips upside down, and there you go, you got your work is ruined. All right, so now we're going to press this on the cardstock. As you can see on this one, rather than going like this, I'm actually holding it like this. And then I'm going, again, raising it up and lowering it down, but I've got my knuckles on the table to give it some steadiness. Get it in frame here so you can see it. And so I've got my fingers on it. And now I'm going to press straight down. And again, I've got to press it really hard because this is a big stamp with a lot of black. If it didn't have so much black, I probably wouldn't have to press so hard. But this one does. Okay. Maybe I'll have to use this in something because it's going to turn out usable here. Might as well use it in a project. All right. Again, I'm going to hold the paper, the cardstock, lift straight up. And there we go. And my image is square because I knew this stamp lines up with the index. All right, so now that's how you do that. So those are the 3 different sizes there. And now I want to show you how to clean them real quick. I'll probably just do the big one here just so you can see. So this doesn't have that little felt dauber on it, but I am going to just kind of squeeze the bottle a little bit to get the cleaner on there. Just be real careful you don't do too much. Have it run all over your stuff. And I'm going to use this microcloth. Paper towel is going to leave lint, so don't use paper towel. You want to use microfiber. And so then I'm just going to take it and use some of that solution to go in other places. You can see it's transferred off onto the microfiber. It's conditioning the rubber at the same time, which is really important. This stamp I don't know that it says the year, but it's old. It's probably 20 years old. Looks like it's brand new. All right, and that is how you clean your stamp. All right, now let's see. What I want to do next is the polymer. I keep calling it polymer. There are some polymer stamps and there are plastic stamps. Correctly saying plastic would be better. So I'm going to stamp this one up. And if you do use alcohol inks to color with, all sorts of different brands, Copic, Stamping Up, all sorts of different brands. I even got some from Dollar Tree. They work just fine. You will want to use Memento ink. You do not want to use Stays On. You'll think, well, Stays On, that works with all sorts of different things, but it Stays On. It has solvents in it, and those solvents actually remove, when you use the alcohol on it, it actually will cause the lines on your Stays On to disappear. You're actually wiping it off. So if you go to use Stays On and say you stamp on plastic and you made a mistake, guess what? You can spray alcohol on it and wipe it off and start again. So on this one, I am going to use dye-based ink. I don't use dye-based ink a lot. I don't do alcohol markers, so I don't use it a lot, but I do have it. My favorite is VersaFine. You saw how good of a stamping I got with that. And I might try the dye-based ink on this one so you can see once I get done with this. So same thing, small stamp. I just want to tap it up, ink it up like that. And this is doing just exactly what I thought it would. And this is important because I want to show you what it's doing. So this is the dye-based ink. Remember I said that plastic stamps are not porous. So if you can see, it's kind of bubbling on that surface. I hope you can see it in the camera. When I go to stamp it, this one won't take much pressure either. It actually stamped well. It actually did. I'm surprised, but you could see it being bubbly on the surface. I'm going to show you on the VersaFine how well it stamps up. And now do you see the difference? This one, no bubbling on the surface. It's nice and shiny, just like it was on the rubber. And I'm going to stamp this one up. Now this one, this I didn't line it up well. I should have, so I could show you what I do. So this acrylic block has grid on it, and it's the purpose of lining up your word stamps or image if you want it in a specific spot. So I line up my word stamp with those grids so that when I flip it over, it shows me that it's straight. All right, and so now when I go to do this one, I'm trusting I can see through the acrylic block. I'm going to put it right up next to that one. And again, same thing. Let go of it, press it with my thumbs, and lift straight up, and there we go. Let's see if you can tell the difference. They actually look pretty good, but you can see that this is darker in the inking compared to the dye. The dye is a little bit faded black, just slightly. Not certainly as dark as the VersaFine, which is why I like the VersaFine. It's really a nice, dark, rich black. Now I want to show you how that looks when I ink up the rubber stamp. You should be able to see the color change with this. And also how much I have to ink up this one with the dye-based ink, because it takes a lot more layers to get that ink build up. All right, now make sure you put your lid on. It becomes magnetic. Now the same thing, I'm going to press this and press this down. I'm holding it again like that, putting my knuckles down on the table so that it holds the stamp steady. I'm going to try to line it up right there with the one above it, because I know that's where my index is. Again, pressing very, very hard, giving it some time for that ink to transfer from the stamp to the paper. Okay, let's see what it looks. Aha, see, you can really tell the difference in the dye-based ink, how much lighter it is. It's still black, but it's not as nice as the pigment ink in the VersaFine. And when I got done stamping it, look, all the ink pretty much came off of the stamp. That's another thing about dye-based ink, is most of the ink does transfer to the paper. There's a technique called second generation stamping, where you can actually, with dye-based ink, you can spritz it just slightly with water, mist it, and you can actually get another stamping. Or as we used to do, we used to huff it like that, and this one doesn't have enough ink on it left over. But when you huff on it, that slight moisture in your breath activates what ink is left, and so that was how much ink was left on the stamp yet. All right, so that is that. And then we've got Tim Holtz, Ranger, I should say, they had the distressed inks, and then they had distressed oxides. Oxide, and the distressed inks have a slight resin in them. You actually can emboss with them because they stay wet long enough to put embossing powder on them. That is one of the reasons why they actually stick really well to polymer and clear stamps. So I'm going to show you on this one. This is walnut stain. So we're going to ink it up. I could do this, but the reason I didn't do the other way was because this pad's small enough. I'm not going to get my fingers in it. That is another reason. If this was even smaller, you want to tap lightly, because I don't know how many times I've gotten ink on my tips of my fingers, and then guess what? I've transferred the ink to my project. That's why you always want to keep a paper towel for your fingers. Get off that excess ink so that it's not transferring to your projects. So I'm going to try this one with the brown ink, walnut stain. Let's see, we'll put it under her. Again, I'm holding it like this. My hands are down on the surface. I'm just going to lower it down. Once I lower it down, I bring my finger tips to the top. And then when I release it, there we go. We've got a nice Imagine on there. Looks really, really well. Love the distressed inks. So that is that. And then same thing with this one. I can use my block. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to stamp this, but then I'll stamp it on a piece of cardstock. I've lined it up so it's even with the grid. I think I'll just use my VersaFine again. I'm going to show you on VersaFine, because it is such a thick ink, you can get a second generation inking very easily, even third, because it's so thick. So I'm going to show you that on here. So there is one inking. And then I'm going to do a lighter one on a piece of paper, because that is what I want. I want a second generation inking. I do this a lot because I want the design, but I don't want it overpowering what it's going on. And so that second generation inking is just the right amount of ink. It still shows up, but it doesn't overpower what I'm putting it on. I saw somebody in a video, as I said, keep a paper handy to stamp off on. I actually saw somebody in a video where she was stamping off on her work surface. Don't do that, because any ink that gets on here is going to transfer to your project. Anything, even if it's just a smudge from your finger, it's going to end up on the back of your card or the face of your card, depending on if maybe you had to put tape on it. You flipped it over, that ink is going to get on the face of the card. I'm thinking if there's anything else I always cover. This is what I keep at my desk. This is a little bit different one, but it's basically a silicone cooking sheet. Tim Holtz sells them. There's other companies that sell this silicone mat. It works really, really good. Teflon mat. Correct word, Teflon mat. It's really good. The reason I like it is, let me give you an example. Oh, I got ink on my surface. Well, now all I have to do, let me put a little bit of a cleaner on there. Take my microfiber wipe it off, and just like that, I cleaned it. Maybe stained a little bit, but it doesn't affect it as long as you've got the ink up. Even my other one I have, it's stained. I've cut on it by accident and all that. But as long as you've cleaned it, yes, it's stained, but it's not going to get on your projects. I recommend the one that's a slicker surface. This one actually has texture to it. Let's try this side. Maybe it's, I feel a difference, but I want to try this side to see if it is the same thing when I put ink on it. Just by chance. It's smoother. This side appears to be a little bit smoother, but you can still kind of see it gets into the grain of the Teflon sheet. The one that Tim Holtz makes is nice and smooth. I highly recommend that one. He uses it for all sorts of techniques as well. He puts dye-based ink on it, spritzes it with water, and then uses that for a technique. But just make sure you clean it off when you're all done. Let me just check my notes real quick to see if there's anything else I wanted to tell you regarding how to stamp. Let's see. We got the inks. I think I've covered everything. The only other thing I know that I didn't say that I have talked about before, especially if you have a lot of wood stamps. When you store your wood stamps, I store mine in a drawer. But you want to make sure that when you store them, you don't have another block going like this against it. Do you see how? Or like this. Because that edge will, if it's under enough pressure, will push against the rubber and dent it. So when you're storing your rubber stamps, do this, like that. And that's another reason why you want to clean your stamps, because guess what? That ink left on there is going to transfer to the index of a different stamp. And then that just makes your index, it just makes it bad. And if you go to pick it up, this one has a plastic coating on it. If that ink was fresh, guess what? Now I've transferred it to my hands. I think that is all I wanted to tell you today. Please visit MyCraftBasketStudio. That was kind of hiding in the video, but please visit my website. I've got other tutorials on there. On this one, I don't think I'll have a PDF handout. I will list the do's and don'ts on the description of this video. And if you have any questions, if you go like, Marion, I don't understand why you did that, or I am having this trouble that you didn't cover, please put it in the description in the comments below. And if you like my videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, MyCraftBasketStudio, and also visit my Etsy site, MyCraftBasketStudio.etsy.com. All right, thank you so much, and you have a great day. Bye-bye.